Newnan Time with Harold, local news in a roundabout way. Today is a very special episode because, first off, bad news. I have been very busy. It was spring break, 3 kids in the house. Also, I'm coming off of an opioid medication. Prescribed, nothing illegally taken, but I ran out of it and insurance gave me a tough time. And so I spent this week with opioid withdrawals. How do you say that word? Withdrawals? Withdrawals. Like I'm wearing my underwear. I'm withdrawals. Opioid withdrawals. And so I've been having a hard time. But thankfully, here is the good news. The good news is Harold has so many friends that are way funnier and way more creative than I am. It's easy for me to sit behind a computer and tickety tap 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 the Chinese chicken, but these people they're able to, at a moment's notice, when I'm like, hey, I need something funny and I need it by Monday, anybody can get it for me, and that's where Jeff came in. So today's a very special episode. Besides this introduction from me is Newnan Time with Harold with Jeff.
Hello, and welcome to the Newnan Time with Harold podcast. I am not Harold, I am Jeff. Harold is off this week. He was looking for someone to come in and replace him for the week. I have been writing to him regularly for many weeks now. He told me, get out of my DMs. And if you got so much to say, why don't you just say it on this week when I'm off and can't do it? So I took him up on it. So welcome to Newnan Time with Harold with Jeff and not Harold. I don't know when this episode is airing. When I asked Harold what I should talk about, he said, why don't you talk about all the stuff you write to me all the time? Since you complain all the time, why don't you get your complaints out? So that's what I'm going to do. So these are my complaints about Newnan. Tried to come up with 10 of them. Don't know that I have 10, so we're not going to get that nice round top 10 reasons I don't like Newnan. I don't know how many this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 maybe. And I might think of things along the way, okay? So here we go. Jeff's complaints about Newnan. Number 1, and this isn't the most important one necessarily, this is just the first one I'm mentioning. Newnan totally ruined Starship. I don't know if you're aware of this place, if you've ever been there, if you know what it is. It is an adult novelty store, also known as a sex shop, maybe. If you've been to them outside of Newnan in Coweta County, you are aware that they sell many products that adults would enjoy in the comfort of their home, perhaps with a partner, sometimes by themselves. They are of a sexual nature typically. What Newnan did to it was freak out about, you can't say the sex, you can't have all those products, tools and masturbatory aids. They put in an ordinance that made it so only a certain percentage of the products they sell could be that way. Well, Starship decided to open their doors anyway, but what they did was they replaced all the things. Instead of having the things that would be of a more prurient nature, they started selling more drug paraphernalia. So congratulations, Christians and Newnan, for radicalizing your county commissioners and your ordinance makers, because you know, have a sex shop, now you have a head shop. People go in there and buy stuff for their meth and their crack cocaine addictions. Congratulations. They're not looking at boobies and pornographies. Now they're buying things that make them tweakers. So that is number one on my list. I don't know if it's the most important, but I don't like it. Number two, currently in the news, we have some people running for county commission. One of the candidates is a former teacher in middle school named Tim Ryan, and there are many allegations out there about him being inappropriate with students. There's no touching necessarily in there, but commenting on middle school bodies is in there. Pulling people out of rooms. The thing I don't like about Mr. Ryan, and I'm going to go right to the source here, they have in his personnel records a rap he wrote to a student that referenced her appearance and behavior. Now, to be fair, Mr. Ryan said this was part of a classroom activity. These are the words. This is the rap. I'm going to try to rap it as best I can. I assume this is the way he meant it to be performed. Oh no, silly, what do you have on? Showing your belly, looking all wrong. Eat more chicken. Oh, I don't do that. Yes, you do, you bike-riding brat. Be lucky that I could have been bad. I'm going to stop here for a second. This is a pet peeve of mine. The way he wrote it is, I could of. I could, and then the word of. Y'all, that is not how that, it is I could have. Just because you say it as of, I could have, like if you did it as a contraction, COULD apostrophe VE would be pronounced could of. But if you spell it as could of, could OF, what does that even mean? Anyway, be lucky that I could have been bad. I have to be careful because mean words make you sad. Moo, 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 moo. That is your gear. Why you mooing at me? It's all that I hear. Let's end this kind of nice. We all love our blank. God knows she's a motor mouth and can't sit still. Well, even though the name was redacted, we know it rhymes with ill, don't we? Good Lord, Mr. Ryan. And maybe he didn't redact it in the class, they've just redacted it in the paper, and now I'm not redacting it, so sorry, Sil. Anyway, I don't like that rap. I don't think it's particularly well written. Eat more chicken, moo, moo, moo. Is this all Chick-fil-A cow stuff? Really, Mr. Ryan? I don't know. He said we were making fun of seeing her belly all the time because she always got dress coded. Cool. Stop dress coding the girls. It's not their fault. You don't punish them for other people's behavior. I don't like that. Anyway, that was number 2 on my list. And I would not vote for him if I was running and voting in Coweta County. All right. Number 3, what do I not like about Newnan? Did you all know that Newnan has a sister city, and the sister city is Ayr, Scotland? Do you know what Ayr, Scotland is famous for? Why, it's the birthplace of Scottish poet Robert Burns. Personally, I prefer Montgomery Burns. I think he's excellent. Sister cities are cool, I guess. I think it's neater if your sister city is a country that doesn't speak the same language as you. Having one that's Scotland, it's just they sound different than you. I think it could be better. Ayr, Scotland was established in 1205. That means it's almost 600 years older than Newnan. You know they've got to think they are better than Newnan. They're like, we're older, we're better, we've been at the cornerstone of civilization for over half a millennia before you even got here. You were still just fighting civil wars and not letting women into school. And they were already past that in Scotland. They were writing poetry with Robert Burns. So, get a better sister city, Newnan. Number 4, what I don't like about Newnan. So many vape shops. You know, a friend of mine, a Yankee, a northerner, carpetbagger, if you will, came down to visit not so long ago, and he commented to me, he's like, wow, there's a lot of churches down here. There's almost a church on every corner. Is that why they call it the Bible Belt? And I was like, yeah, I guess so. I guess that's why it's the Bible Belt. There's churches everywhere, just like Waffle Houses everywhere. But you know, I like to count while I'm driving to keep myself alert and awake and seeing what's around me. And there's more vape shops now than churches in Newnan. You know, all the ones you've heard about, all the big famous ones, the big franchises, the, you know, Vape Mart and Targ Vape, Vaples. But actually, I'm just kidding. Those aren't real ones. But these are some of the, there's so many vape shops now. There's Vapor Morgulis. There's Cloud Carts. There's Foggy Leghorns. There's Sniff My Breath. There's Fruity Nicotine Cloud. There's Puffy McGee's. There's Dilly McChillabills. So many vape shops. Is there that many people vaping in Newnan? Maybe that's something I don't like. That everything just smells like coconut strawberry ice and mango menthol watermelon and things. Riz. There's Riz in every title. Vaping don't give you Riz, y'all. I don't know. That's not good, Newnan. You don't lean into the vape. You know, cool it on the vape. You're coming out against data centers. Come out against vape shops. Maybe that would be a better idea. Maybe just put one vape shop in the data center, and not 4. You know, I don't know. Number 5. Well, this is a personal story. I had a bad karaoke experience at the Alamo many years back, and it has really tainted my opinion of the town. So this is what happened. I was having dinner with my longtime spouse, Margaret. And Margaret pulled me by the arm after we had a nice pizza dinner and said, let's go in here and have a nightcap. And it was one of the establishments downtown. And I said, okay, a nightcap, because I thought, well, you know, a little bit of social lubricant's not a bad idea. So we went in, we ordered a drink. We found out it was karaoke night, and Margaret said it would be so sexy if I would get up and sing a song to her at this karaoke night. And so I went up to the DJ, this little straw-haired fella who was wearing a visor upside down, so that the bill kind of stuck out and it almost looked like there was a bowl or a vase on his head. So he had his upside down visor on, and he said, yo, Chief, what you want to sing tonight? And I said, well, I'm here with my wife and lovely partner, Margaret. She has asked me to sing a song, and she thinks it would be rather sexy, and I'm a little overwhelmed by the number of options that we have here tonight. The folder that this gentleman had was a binder that looked like it carried the nuclear codes. Nuclear codes. The football. And he said, "Don't worry about it, Chief. I got you." And I said, "Okay, I trust you, even though your hat looks a little strange to me, and that's not how you wear a visor, and that's not what a visor is for. A visor is literally for protecting and shielding your eyes from the sun. Your visor in your car does the same thing as the visor on your head. And now you are inside a dark club with your visor flipped upside down." I maybe didn't say all that to him, but it was intimated. Finally, after suffering through several people singing songs from Alan Jackson and Jimmy Buffett and Fleetwood Mac and Celine Dion, he finally says, "Now it's time for my boy Jeff to come up on the stage." And I could feel myself getting flush. And Margaret giggled like a schoolgirl and tapped my hand. And I said, "Okay, here I go." And so I got up and I looked at the screen. And the song that this gentleman had chosen for me to sing was the song "I'm Too Sexy" by the 90s one-hit wonder, Right Said Fred. Now, I know I had said that my wife thought it would be sexy for me to sing a karaoke song, and I think maybe he was trying to help, although I also think maybe he was trying to make fun of me because I am a large gentleman with a very full beard and a receding hairline. I did not feel particularly sexy that night, as the shirt that I was wearing had a large stain of pizza sauce from my earlier meal on it. I reluctantly grabbed the microphone. The music began, and I did the best I could with Mr. Said Fred's lyrics. About being too sexy for my hat, my cat, my shirt, my hurt. That 2 minutes and 25 seconds was the longest of my life, and I do not listen to one-hit wonder marathons anymore because I know that song will get played, and it makes me feel embarrassed. So I do not like Newnan for that reason. Finally, actually, I guess there's two more. First of all, Newnan needs more roundabouts. Get rid of all these lights and long waits at these lights. It takes much too long. If everything was a roundabout, we'd be having a much better time. And lastly, as I see that I am starting to run out of time, the last reason I don't like Newnan is because that is the last place that I vomited. And granted, it was several years ago, and I have been sickness-free for many years now, several years. But just like the "I'm too sexy" moment, the fresh in my mind of Newnan, and one thing that happened there is running the beer mile at Abide Brewery and not understanding what a beer mile was, which for those of you who don't know, it is a 1 mile race where you start by chugging a beer and running a quarter mile and chugging a beer and running another quarter mile and chugging a beer and running another quarter mile and chugging a beer, and then for finishing the race you get a beer. If that sounds fun to you, I will tell you that it is not. If that sounds horrible to you, I will tell you that it is. Because chugging that first beer and then starting to run, you can basically hear it sloshing in your stomach. By the second, it feels as if there is a cannonball growing in your gut. By the third, you were walking more than anything and starting to burp a lot. And by that fourth, that end of that race, you're starting to see people not feeling well. And I don't know if this happens to you, but the more people get sick, that kind of makes you sick. And it's just this chain reaction. And, even just people making the face or, like their tongues out, like they're dry heaving. That was kind of what was happening. And just as I crossed the finish line of this beer mile, they handed me a water, and I threw it on my face to just try to. I already feel that hot, sweaty moment coming, and I threw the water on my face to be like, please cool down, don't throw up, cool yourself down. And it did not stop me. I luckily made it to a large pail that was also strategically placed at the end of the race. It had already been used for the same purpose, and like I said earlier, that did not help. So bending my head over it, I saw what I was going to do too and just added to it. It was not a great day, not a fun moment. So what do I think about Newnan overall? Put all these together. Well, it makes me want to puke. It doesn't have enough roundabouts. People with flipped up visors try to embarrass you. There's too many vape shops with very silly names. It needs a better sister city than Ayr, Scotland. They need better candidates for county commission than Tim Ryan and his rap and being weird around middle school kids. Like, sorry, man. And fix your sex shops, y'all. Like, seriously. Thank you. This was Newnan Time with Harold with Jeff. I die.